If you are renting or are about to rent in the UK, this video can literally save you thousands of pounds. From hidden costs that nobody talks about, to negotiation tactics that actually work, areas that you should consider renting in, plus massive new laws coming 1st of May that will change everything for the renters.
We are Wedwish and we've been living in London for 4 years. And in this video, we are breaking down what you actually need to know in 2026. Let's go. First, let's talk about the real cost of renting, because your rent is literally just the beginning. When we first moved to London, we budgeted around £2,200 for rent. But once we added everything else, we actually ended up spending £2,700 per month.
So here is what most people miss. First, the council tax. This is mandatory unless you're a full-time student, and council tax could cost anywhere between 100 to 250 per month depending on your property band. Pro tip here is to actually check your council tax online before even viewing the property. You can easily do that on the gov.uk website, and we will link that exact link in the description below.
Secondly, the utility bills. The gas, electricity, water, these can amount up to £150 to £300 per month. And here's the pro tip. Check the EPC rating of every property. A property with EPC rating of C and above can save you easily £80 to £200 per month compared to a poorly insulated flat with a rating of D or E. You can easily find this on Zoopla and Rightmove.
So rent is only half the picture. You should look at council tax, utility bills, and in certain cases even Wi-Fi before you get to know the total cost of rent. Now let's talk about the red flags that you should be aware of when you're house hunting. We've honestly walked away from flats because of these red flags. Okay, so the first red flag is damp, moldy, or musty smell in the apartment. When you're going for a viewing, make sure that you look beyond the staging of the flat, which is behind the curtains, inside cupboards, around the windows, and examine skirting boards. Landlords are under strict conditions to address damp and mold. So if you notice them before moving in, that's a red flag.
And secondly, be mindful of the poor communal areas, such as cracked tiles, broken gates, or dirty lifts. This signals that the landlord or the building management is not taking care of the property. If they can't maintain common areas, this is a fair indication that they won't be quick to respond to your problems in the apartment.
Okay, the third red flag. If the price is too good to be true. If usually the price of the apartment or the flat is lower than the average price of the area, it means that there's something wrong with the flat. Either there's structural issues, or there's noise problems, or just that the landlord is a bit flaky. So we would advise against going for such apartments.
And lastly, make sure to check the water pressure and heating in the apartment. When you're viewing, just turn on the taps, flush toilets, ask the landlord to turn the heating on. Trust us, weak water pressure or poor heating system in winters can be a miserable experience.
Okay, and now let's talk about the absolute game changer, which will be impacting almost every renter in England this year. From 1st of May 2026, the biggest reforms in renting will come into effect. It will apply to everyone except if you live with the landlord in the same apartment, or if you're actually renting a flat under a company name, if you're in a student accommodation where different rules apply, or if your annual rent is more than 100k. For everyone else, this is what is changing.
Number 1, no more being locked into fixed contracts. From May 1st, all tenancies will be on a rolling period, which means you can give 2 months notice and leave whenever you want to. Now, what does it mean for you? Let's say you're 6 months into a 12-month contract. From May 1st, you're automatically free to leave with a 2-month period notice.
Second change. No fault evictions are gone, which means Section 21 will be abolished. What does it mean for you? The landlord cannot kick you out just because they want to. Now they need to have a very strong reason. For example, they have major renovations, or they're planning to move in by themselves, or they're planning to sell the property.
Change number 3 will cap the rent increase to just once per year, with a 2-month period notice required. And you're free to challenge any unfair increase in a tribunal.
The fourth change is actually one of my favorites. The landlords cannot just refuse pets without any solid reasons. They must consider all pet requests reasonably and fairly. And change number 5, landlords cannot reject you for having children or receiving benefits.
Change number 6 is that bidding wars are now banned. Landlords must stick to the advertised price. You will no longer be playing against other renters. From personal experience, we have been outbidded by other renters in the past, so this change is definitely one of our favorites. Bottom line is that from May 1st, renters will have a lot more power. This is genuinely massive.
With now laws actually favoring the renters, this is how you can actually pay less and not get ripped off. Here is something that not a lot of renters know. you can actually negotiate your rent. For example, if a place has been listed for about 3 to 4 weeks, the landlord is really motivated. Or if you can move in faster, then that could act as a leverage. So before you negotiate, do make sure you've done your market research and you've looked at the area and the average prices on Zoopla and Rightmove. And instead of saying you would only pay X pounds, you should say, given the market, would you accept Y pounds? For example, when we were flat hunting about 2 years back, we really liked this flat, but the kitchen actually needed a lot of maintenance. The rent at that time was 2,400, but we were successful in negotiating about 2,200 because we were ready to move in immediately and the kitchen needed a lot of renovation. I mean, that's a different story. We found a completely different flat elsewhere, but we were very close to getting that flat because we negotiated.
Now let's talk about fees and deposits, because this is the place where people still get ripped off. Since 2019, agents cannot charge referencing, admin fees, inventory, or move-in, move-out costs. If they break the rules, they can be heavily penalized. What they can charge you is maximum 5 weeks rent as deposit, first month's rent as advance.
And this is critical. Your deposit should actually be protected in a government scheme within 30 days. And if not, you can actually take them to court and they could owe you 1 to 3 times the deposit. Bottom line, in 2026, you've got more power and more leverage as a renter in England.
Now let's talk about where you should be renting in 2026. In 2026, smart renters don't just look at zone numbers anymore. They look at transport rich and transport poor areas. The Elizabeth line and the Overground are fully upgraded now, so well-connected Zone 3 can actually beat a Zone 2 any day.
So here are 4 strategies that we wish somebody had told us when we were looking to rent in London. Strategy number 1 is to look at target matured regeneration areas. So for example, places like Canada Water, Tottenham Hale, Wembley Park are all developed with parks and cafes and the required infrastructure. But the rent is still 20 to 30% lower than Zone 1 or Zone 2. You're getting the lifestyle without the premium price tag.
Our second recommendation is to prioritize Elizabeth line. Any area on the Elizabeth line, Stratford, Canary Wharf, Ealing, gives you fast access to central London, Heathrow Airport, as well as the financial district. Seriously, these areas are gold mines right now. A 25-minute commute from Woolwich to central London can be faster than a 35-minute slog from Zone 2, where you might have to change your tubes or buses multiple times.
Okay, now this third strategy I think is so important, which is to time when you're actually looking to rent. We would personally avoid the time between August to October because that is a student peak period. This is when the rent prices are the most expensive and competitive. Also, we would highly recommend starting the process about 6 to 8 weeks from where you're actually thinking of renting. This is honestly the amount it could take to rent in London. And listen, if you want us to make a video on all the top areas where young professionals and couples should be renting in London, let us know in the comments below. If there's enough requests, we would actually make another video with all the top areas. So there you have it, the complete guide to renting in London. Right from the total cost of renting, how to negotiate better deals, the areas to scout for in London, and also the big change that's coming from 1st of May 2026.
If this video saved you from making a costly mistake, hit that like button and subscribe for more London lifestyle and personal finance content. See you in the next one.